Good evening, Central Alabama. This is meteorologist Scott Martin, and just coming to you this evening, early Sunday evening, September 13th at 5:05 p.m. Just coming to you to bring you a quick update on Tropical Storm Sally as she continues to move her way across the northern part of the Gulf of Mexico, and right now it looks like it's headed to make a landfall somewhere close to Lake Pontchartrain on the Louisiana coast, and could possibly go as far east as, say, the central Louisiana coast, and then as far west as possibly Dauphin Island, Alabama. But we'll get to that in just a minute. First of all, let's start off with the satellite view, and this is what you can see right now on your screen. Right now, still kind of a storm that looks a little disheveled right now. Most of the activity on the eastern side of the circulation, but strengthening is expected to happen, and possibly becoming a hurricane as early as Monday morning. And once that happens, the circulation will look a lot better, the satellite presentation will look better, and all in all, Sally will be a decent hurricane when she finally moves on shore sometime late on Monday, early Tuesday morning. Okay, so let's take a look at the latest cone from the National Hurricane Center here. And we see that Tropical Storm Sally, as of 4 p.m. Central Daylight Time, was clocking with winds at 60 miles per hour, and it was moving to the west-northwest at 9 miles per hour. The center of circulation was located about 165 miles to the south of Panama City, Florida, or about 215 miles to the east-southeast of the mouth of the Mississippi River. Once again, I said maximum sustained winds were at 60 miles per hour, and it was moving at 9 miles per hour to the west-northwest. The minimum central pressure was at 996 millibars. All right, taking a look at the watches and warnings in effect right now for Sally, we'll see that there is a storm surge warning, is in effect for Port Fourchon, Louisiana, to the Mississippi-Alabama border. Also for Lake Pontchartrain, Lake Meropas, and Lake Borgne. A hurricane warning is in effect for Morgan City, Louisiana, over to Ocean Springs, Mississippi, and also for Lake Pontchartrain and Lake Meropas, including the metropolitan New Orleans. A storm surge watch is in effect for Mississippi, from the Mississippi-Alabama state line to the Alabama-Florida state line. A hurricane watch is in effect for east of Ocean Springs, Florida, to the Alabama-Florida border. Wait, that's not right. Anyway, east of Ocean Springs to the Alabama-Florida border. A tropical storm warning is in effect for east of Ocean Springs to Indian Pass, and also for Intercoastal City, Louisiana, to the west of Morgan City. A tropical storm watch is in effect for Indian Pass over to Ochlockonee River, Florida. These names here, they are killing me. I didn't get time to practice on this. Anyway, so now let's take a look at the hazards right now, which is what we're looking at. All right, let's go ahead and read the discussion and outlook real quick from the National Hurricane Center. We see that as of 4 p.m., the center of Tropical Storm Sally was located near latitude 27.8 north, longitude 85.9 west. Sally is moving towards the west-northwest near 9 miles per hour, and this motion is expected to continue through tonight. A slower west-northwestward motion is expected Monday and Monday night, followed by a further decrease in forward speed and a turn to the northwest Monday night and Tuesday. On the forecast track, the center of Sally will move over the north-central Gulf of Mexico tonight and Monday, and approach the north-central Gulf Coast within the hurricane warning area late Monday and Monday night. Sally is expected to move slowly northward near the southeastern Louisiana or Mississippi coast through Tuesday. Maximum sustained winds are near 60 miles per hour with higher gusts. Strengthening is expected over the next day or so, and Sally is forecast to become a hurricane on Monday, with some additional strengthening possible before the center nears the northern Gulf Coast. Tropical storm force winds extend outward up to 125 miles to the east of the center. The latest minimum central pressure estimated from data from a NOAA reconnaissance aircraft is 996 millibars, which equals to approximately 29.41 inches. Alright, so let's take a look at the storm surge here. Alright, storm surge. The combination of a dangerous storm surge and the tide will cause normally dry areas near the coast to be flooded by rising waters moving inland from the shoreline. The water could reach the following heights above ground somewhere in the indicated areas if the peak surge occurs at the time of high tide. Alright, from the mouth of the Mississippi River to Ocean Springs, Mississippi, including Lake Borgne, 7 to 11 feet. For Port Fourchon, Louisiana, to the mouth of the Mississippi River, 4 to 7 feet. From Ocean Springs, Mississippi, to the Mississippi-Alabama border, 4 to 7 feet. From Lake Pontchartrain and Lake Meropas, 4 to 6 feet. From the Mississippi-Alabama border to the Alabama-Florida border, including Mobile Bay, 2 to 4 feet. From the Alabama-Florida border to Chassahowitzka, Florida, including Pensacola Bay, Choctawhatchee Bay, and St. Andrew Bay, 1 to 3 feet. And for Burns Point, Louisiana, to Port Fourchon, Louisiana, 1 to 3 feet. Overtopping of local levees outside of the hurricane and storm damage risk reduction system is possible where local inundation values may be higher than those shown above. The deepest water will occur along the immediate coast in areas of onshore winds, where the surge will be accompanied by large and damaging waves. Large and damaging waves. Surge-related flooding depends on the relative timing of the surge and the tidal cycle, and can vary greatly over short distances. Alright, so now let's take a look at the wind, which is expected. Hurricane conditions are expected within the hurricane warning area starting late Monday. Tropical storm conditions are possible within the watch area tonight and are expected within the warning area beginning on Monday. Alright, let's switch to the rain. Sally is expected to be a slow-moving system resulting in significant flash flooding for the central Gulf Coast Monday into Wednesday. Sally is expected to produce rainfall of 8 to 16 inches with isolated amounts of 24 inches over a portion of the central Gulf Coast from the western Florida Panhandle to southeast Louisiana from Monday through the middle of the week. This rainfall will likely result in new widespread minor to isolated major flooding on area rivers. Sally is forecast to move inland early Wednesday, and the track into the southeast, with rainfall of 5 to 10 inches possible across much of the inland Mississippi and Alabama. Flash and urban flooding is possible, as well as widespread minor to moderate flooding on some rivers in Mississippi and Alabama. Further heavy rain is then anticipated across portions of Tennessee, northern Georgia, and western North Carolina. Flash, urban, and minor river flooding are possible across this region. Outer bands of Sally are expected to produce additional rainfall of 1 to 3 inches across central and northern Florida through Monday. This rainfall may produce flash and urban flooding and prolong high flows and ongoing minor flooding on rivers across central Florida. Now let's take a look at the severe weather risk here. For tornadoes, the risk of isolated tornadoes will begin to increase Monday afternoon and evening over parts of the western Florida Panhandle, southern Alabama, southern Mississippi, and southeast Louisiana. And surf, swells from Sally are affecting the west coast of the Florida Peninsula, the coast of the Florida Panhandle, and will be spreading northwestward along the northern Gulf Coast through Monday. These swells are likely to cause life-threatening surf and rip current conditions. Alright, so as you can see, we'll go back to the satellite view here. And so that is the latest from the National Hurricane Center. Once again, if you missed all that, currently Sally is clocking maximum sustained winds at 60 miles per hour and is moving to the west-northwest at 9 miles per hour, with the center currently located 165 miles to the south of Panama City. And if we zoom into the, go back to the cone, Let me zoom in here. Once again, landfall looks to be very close to Lake Pontchartrain, possibly as a strong tropical storm. According to the National Hurricane Center, let me get back to that real quick. Let's see. National Hurricane Center on tropical storm. Yeah, let me look at the forecast advisory here. Wind speeds look to be topping out right now. They have it a little weaker. No. Yeah, it is a little weaker. It was originally supposed to top out around 100 miles per hour before making landfall, but right now they have it pulled back down to 90 miles per hour. So a little bit of relief there, but still that's pretty potent as a hurricane moving onshore with those sustained winds, possibly knocking trees down, power lines, doing some roof damage and stuff to houses and businesses. So we definitely don't need that along the coast and everything. As far as central Alabama's weather, let me pull up the National Weather Service out of Birmingham's website real quick, and we'll swap that over here. All right. Let's see, now I may need to zoom that in a little bit closer. All right, so as you can see here, get that larger for you. So you can see here, they have the latest update posted as well on Tropical Storm Sally. Well, actually, this is from the 1 p.m., so they do not have the latest update yet. But they are still speaking for central Alabama. Impacts will be breezy conditions and heavy rainfall, mainly west of I-65 by midweek. And then it tells us to check back for more details on local impacts as the track forecast continues to grow in confidence. Let's see, if we look at the hazardous weather outlook, we see we don't expect any hazardous weather on Monday or Tuesday, but on Wednesday there's a level 2 confidence factor in tropical storm and tropical depression conditions across the state, across central Alabama, and then there's a 1 on the confidence level there as well. If we read the text, days 2 through 7, the latest forecast regarding Tropical Storm Sally brings the system near or into central Alabama early Wednesday morning through Thursday night. Potential impacts from Sally include periods of heavy rainfall, which could lead to localized flooding as well as minor river flooding, gusty winds up to 40 miles per hour, and the conditional threat of a few brief tornadoes. At this time, these threats are expected to primarily remain in areas along and west of I-65. However, residents across central Alabama are encouraged to stay up to date with the latest forecast information. So, as you can see there, we are expecting some rough weather to occur with the potential of a few brief spin-up tornadoes, especially in the western half of central Alabama. But that will all depend on wherever the final forecast track, where the final track of Sally actually makes landfall and how she curves back to the north and then to the northeast, and where she passes through central Alabama. And of course, it all depends on the speed of that motion and her intensity before she makes landfall and how long she can hang on to that intensity. Now, I will say this. Let me go back to the cone again. Now, I will say this. If Sally moves on shore as a weaker system than what is expected, excuse me. So if she is to make landfall, say at minimum hurricane speed at 75 miles per hour, I would look for landfall to possibly be on the western side of that cone. And if she happens to be stronger, a stronger hurricane is more likely to make a northern turn a little quicker. So if a northern turn happens, she'll move on shore as a stronger hurricane. And if that's the case, then the bullseye would be from Biloxi over to Dauphin Island. Um, but if it's weaker, it would be more towards the central coast of Louisiana. So, with that being said, once again, like I said, this is going to be a tricky situation leading up to Sally making landfall, because it all depends on how much she intensifies and where exactly she makes landfall and how quickly she moves across land. Unfortunately, it looks like she's going to be moving very slowly over the southeastern parts of Louisiana, and especially over Lake Pontchartrain and over New Orleans. And unfortunately, I think there may be some flooding issues there within the city and the outlying areas, especially in the parishes that surround those locations. Southern Mississippi, right now, southeastern Mississippi is going to be on that eastern side of the eye. So I could imagine, stronger winds being on that side, along with much higher storm surge than what we would expect on the eastern side. On the western side. And then also for the possibility of brief spin-up tornadoes to occur to the east of the center. And with this forecast track, we also see that it moves up into the western parts of central Alabama by Thursday morning. But with that being said, nearly all of central Alabama will be to the east of the center circulation. So I could see a threat of a few brief spin-up tornadoes, especially for the western half of central Alabama, but I wouldn't count out the eastern half seeing one or two. These systems have surprised us, and sometimes they fall below what we expect. So this one, we'll just have to wait and see what happens, and just have to be on guard throughout the week, and just keep our eyes peeled on it. And I'll be here with updates throughout the rest of today and through the week whenever necessary. Now, switching gears real quick, let's go to local National Weather Service radar, and we see we have some storms moving through the western part of central Alabama at this point, mainly from Hamilton through Lamar and down into Pickens County, and earlier, and over to northern Tuscaloosa and southern Walker, and into Fayette County as well. We'll see a nice little outflow boundary ahead of those storms, now moving through the northwestern parts of Jefferson County and through north central Tuscaloosa. Earlier, we had a significant weather advisory issued for Lamar and for Lamar and Fayette counties, and with the potential of some strong gusty winds. And that beeping that you heard with my phone earlier, a flash flood watch was just canceled for the northwestern corner of the state. So as you can see there, the rain activity has pretty much come to an end up there. Most of the rainfall is now occurring up into Tennessee. I don't expect any trouble from these storms later this evening and tonight. Once we get into tonight, they should start to dissipate, fall apart, and we should mainly be dry for the rest of the night, but I wouldn't be surprised if one or two showers happen to persist. And so we should have fair weather for much of the area for tonight. So for tomorrow, let's go into the forecast models real quick. Now let's pull up my weather bell real quick. We go into the GFS. Then we go into this and just show you real quick. So we have the potential for showers tonight, and then it calms down. There may be a stray shower, as you can see right there. This is valid at 4 a.m. pre-dawn on Monday morning, and you can see it's pretty much quiet, and it'll stay relatively quiet until the heating of the day starts firing up. And we can see some isolated to scattered showers across central Alabama, mainly during the afternoon and evening hours tomorrow. And you also notice that Sally is moving closer to shore, so we'll start to see some outer rain bands start to affect the southern parts of the area, mainly during the late afternoon into the evening and nighttime hours. This is valid at 1 a.m. here. You can see much of the activity has quieted down as we've lost the heating of the day. And Sally is just offshore, and we believe she makes landfall somewhere between, looks like 1 a.m. and 4 a.m. maybe. And then she slows down and starts dragging. This is at 1 p.m. on Tuesday. And we see she's made landfall and is moving up through the southeastern parts of Mississippi, which will put the Alabama Gulf Coast on that eastern side of the eye wall. They would be getting the strongest winds at this point and the maximum storm surge and heaviest rain. So this is when flooding will be potentially at its worst for places like Orange Beach, Gulf Shores, Fort Morgan, Dauphin Island, and for Baldwin and Mobile counties, and especially over into Mississippi as well. We'll keep on going here, and we'll move on up. As you see, we'll have effects from Sally moving into the southwestern parts of central Alabama. This is at 1 a.m. on Wednesday. And then we keep scrolling through, and we see that much of the activity for Sally is now into central Alabama. This is at 11 a.m. on Wednesday, and we see that this will probably be when we can expect the worst of the weather from Sally, especially as the center is about to cross the state line and move into the western parts of central Alabama. This is when we could have the probably the highest potential for spin-up tornadoes. I'd say from this point for the western parts, and then it moves to the central parts as we move into 4 p.m. and this is 7 p.m. and then this is 10 p.m. and then by this time I think the threat for stronger to severe storms out of Sally will calm down for the night. Rain activity will kind of settle down for a little bit, but we'll still have tropical showers and thunderstorms. But I wouldn't be surprised if we still had 1 or 2 rotating storms at this point. We go in to 7 a.m. on Thursday, and we see that the pressure has really risen a lot. Much of the heavy rain activity has moved into northern Georgia, and we'll still have some scattered tropical showers throughout the day, mainly on the eastern half of the state. But then we also have a boundary that's off to our north that may be a focal point for showers and storms to move through on Friday. As we scroll through, this is 1 p.m. on Friday, and we go through the rest of the day, and then we see that everything calms down. This is 1 a.m. Saturday morning, and you see by then we're expecting a good dry weekend, it looks like, with cooler temperatures. And so we'll go check out the temperatures that we are expecting throughout the week. Let's pull this up real quick, and I'll have it stationed for the Birmingham NexRad site, which is located down in Calera. It's centrally located for central Alabama, so it would give us about what the mean temperature would be for all of central Alabama. So you know, for the northern parts you take away about 3 or 4 degrees, and for the southern parts you add about 3 or 4 degrees. So this is daily high temps here, and we see that oh, I've kept it on radar. I'm sorry about that, folks. Let me go back to Firefox. I'm so sorry about that, folks. I forgot about... See, like I said, this is a bumpy ride. I'm learning this software. It's the first time I've used it, so just still hang with me there. Anyway, temperatures, as you can see, tomorrow will be up towards 89 degrees, so roughly 85 to 92, I'd say, for the area. 87 to 93 on Monday, and then you see the temperatures drop due to the presence of Sally over central Alabama. And then we stay rather cool, actually below seasonal values throughout the rest of the time. We only have a couple of, 2 or 3 days that actually go back above 80 degrees. So next weekend is looking to be fabulous. Highs in the upper 70s to lower 80s with lows in the lower to mid 60s. It's going to be a fabulous weekend next weekend. But we got to get through Tropical Storm Sally, which will be Hurricane Sally eventually. And just, be sure you stay in touch with your family and friends. Let them know that, especially if they live along the coast, that they've gotten their stuff done and they're going to be where they need to be to ride out Sally as she makes landfall. But also to stay in tune with your local weather service or your source of weather information. Of course, I'll be updating my website throughout the weekend or throughout the week ahead. And then, here's my website here, and it's scottmartinwx.com. But I also work on the Alabama Weather Blog with James Spann and Bill Murray, and we'll have constant updates there. Probably more frequent updates here than I will on my site. So either site's a great site to go. Here, when warnings are issued, they are immediately put up on the site. So if you happen to leave this site up and running, you might want to go get you a plug-in where you can refresh the tab every couple of minutes so it'll automatically do it. And that way you can set up and be sure that you have the latest warnings up there. We'll be working on a script that will get warnings automatically loaded to the site to where, once they're issued, they're automatically up on the site. So anyway, this is meteorologist Scott Martin. I'm going to go ahead and sign off for tonight. Thank you for joining me. I know it was a rough live stream, and like I said, I'm getting used to this new software, getting used to doing live streams. So from here on out, hopefully it'll start getting better, and it'll be much better presented, and things will be ready to go, and you won't have to worry about having to wait for images to show up on the screen and the right window is selected when I'm talking about a certain forecast feature. So once again, I'm Scott Martin. You can be sure to check me out on Facebook at Scott Martin WX, also on Twitter at Scott Martin WX, and like I said, on my website, scottmartinwx.com, or you can check me out on the Alabama Weather Blog at alabamawx.com. Thank you so much. Have a great evening, and God bless.